Hi there guys, welcome to another episode, or sorry, another product review I should say. Getting my head in the podcast mode. Today, product review wise, we're going to be having a look at Warlord Games' new US Airborne plastic box set. Very excited about this, and when it came out, I was very much jumping at the bit to get my hands on a box, because I'd previously, when I was younger, I had done reenactment, and specifically 101st US Airborne Division. So part of me was very much keen to get these. The other part of me was like, no, we don't want to start another army. But these came out, and I wanted to see how good they were. So, very kindly, Warlord sent me a box of these, and it arrived just days after my birthday, which was fantastic. It was a great little present from Warlord, so thank you to Warlord for that. Really should give you guys a shout out for your generosity, and really, I'm very excited to be reviewing these today. So, these are the latest plastics out from Warlord Games, and like many of the other recently released plastic sets, they are fantastic. The quality of the sculpts is brilliant, and they are getting better and better with each set, I feel. There is sort of with some of the earlier plastic sets, they had the arms and the weapons separate, and you had to kind of match the arms with the right weapon. In this set, like some of the other more recent ones, I believe the German Grenadiers box set is like this as well. You actually get the arms and the weapons already attached, so they're so there's less to worry about in terms of matching up, which in some ways makes it easier to build, but in other ways it gives you less options, and you have to do a little bit more sculpting if you want certain poses and certain bits with certain other bits, if that makes sense. But before we get started into the details, let's very quickly look at the box. Love the artwork as per usual, and once again, Warlord have knocked themselves out with this one. The artwork is very good because it's specific to what these figures are. Now, lots of people have asked me in the past, or asked generally in the community, can the metal Warlord paratrooper figures, which aren't these ones, the other ones, I think the box set was called the Screaming Eagles, can that be used for Operation Market Garden? And the answer is, if you want to be historically accurate, no, they can't. What happened was, in Normandy, the paratroopers wore the M42 jumpsuit, which was more of a tan colour, and it was much lighter fabric. By September of 44, just prior to Operation Market Garden, the Airborne were issued the new M43 jumpsuit, which was a darker olive green colour, and it was a thicker material. Now, this is much better when we get to things like Bastogne and the Battle of the Bulge through that winter period, particularly harsh winter, in fact. The M42 uniform would have been very useless. Some of the paratroopers actually kept their uniform, their M42 jumpsuits with them if they were still serviceable, and later on in the war, in the sort of summer of 45, some of them revert back to wearing those because they were more of a summer uniform. But I think that, I mean, you can read accounts and see pictures. Band of Brothers portrays it pretty well, that some wore this and some wore the more summery 42 jumpsuit. So it's a real mix. So I suppose if you were doing a late war 1945, you could probably mix the two, and that could look fairly historical in a sense. But for Operation Market Garden and Bastogne, and really the late 44 to 45 period, you want these ones. Now, they have a fantastic history on the back, which kind of covers what I've said. Gives you great information, has some great pictures of what to expect from these figures. I have to say their paint job's probably better than mine, but we can all aspire to something. And it does come with a decal sheet as well. With this box set, you get a lovely piece inside, which I particularly like. Usually you get one of these, and it has all the component parts and a diagram of the sprue. The sprue has 6 infantry figures on there. Okay, one in the prone, 1 kneeling, and 4 in various poses standing upright. What I also really like about this, which I haven't seen on any of the others previous to this, and maybe they have changed a few of them, but they have on the other side given you the bolt action statistics for these Airborne. It tells you the cost of them and the composition, it gives you the weapons, and it gives you the options and the special rules. And this is specifically for a US paratrooper squad late war. Now, I don't know what they consider the 42 jumpsuit paratroopers to be. Technically, the jumpsuit came in 42 and was used during 42 and 43, which is pretty a mid-war period. And I don't know whether in bolt action they classify it as mid-war or whether they call it late war because of D-Day and that being 44. So it's a little bit up in the air, and I'm sure somebody at Warlord would be glad to clarify that for us. But it doesn't really matter too much. Now, just to give you a little bit of history, the 42 jumpsuit was actually a variation, an improvement upon the M41 jumpsuit, which really is not seen at all. There are a few examples of them in some museums. But the thing with the 41 was it was designed and was used in the airborne assault on Sicily. Now, the only airborne or American airborne unit to jump in that operation was the 82nd Airborne. They found that the uniform was terrible. It really did not stand up to the hard wearing tasks of the Airborne, and so they were very quickly changed to produce the 42 jumpsuit. And likewise, the 42 jumpsuit was pretty good, did the job well. 43, the M43 design was again an attempt to try and improve again, and eventually actually the 43 became the uniform for all US infantry, both airborne and regular infantry. And there was some slight differences in the sense that they didn't have as many the pouches on them, whereas the airborne did. They had a few more pouches. The buckle boots, which actually these figures have, were also issued then to the US infantry. Quick thing about buckle boots, I'm actually giving you a bit of a uniform history here. I apologise. We will get back to the product very shortly after I finish rambling. But most paratroopers actually wore the Cochrane jump boots, and these were very, very coveted by the Airborne. I think only themselves and the Rangers were the only ones to be issued with these, and it was a real symbol of elitism. The buckle boots kind of came in as an opportunity to replace that. Wasn't particularly popular with the Airborne. Certainly was used much more widely from Operation Market Garden onwards. But many paratroopers still held on to their jump boots, their Cochranes. However, the US infantry had used the service shoes with the gaiters. They kind of moved on later in the war to the buckle boots. So that's just a quick summary to give you some context of these figures and kind of what you're looking at. Now, we will cover converting these figures a little bit later, but I just want to touch on these very quickly, and we're going to have a quick slideshow of some pictures that I took. Now, these are fantastic figures. Mostly you get equipped with carbines, M1 Garands, you get a few Thompsons in there, and you also get the M1919 light machine gun, I believe. Let me just look that up very quickly. It's labelled here as a 30 caliber. Oh, you also get the BAR, by the way. It's actually, sorry, I thought it had it on here. Basically, the Airborne were equipped with it's like a 30 caliber, but with a stock on it, so you could essentially fire it a bit like a BAR, but it was still belt fed and was given a bipod instead of a tripod. Now, the Airborne did use 30 caliber machine guns as more of a medium machine gun, a support weapon, whereas this one's being used more in the light machine gun role. And I'll just show you these two that I've done. And I do like the way you get the hand feeding the belt into the machine gun, which in previous sets you didn't get. You just got a guy with a belt of ammunition. So these are fantastic figures. Highly recommend them. I only had time to put 6 together. I will be putting the rest together later. I will also be doing some conversions. Now, this is as I said, you could use these figures have the uniforms of the late war US infantry, so you could use these with a bit of conversion, and not a lot of difficult conversion, not a lot of green stuff, in fact very little if any green stuff. So what would you do? Well, you wouldn't use the musette bags, which are on their backs, and you wouldn't use the entrenching tool. What you'd probably do is you'd take the 1928 Doughboy packs, which come with the US infantry set. And if I've got one lying around, which I do, you'll see on the back he's got a pack. You might be able to see that. All right, and it's got the entrenching tool hanging down as well. Okay, now you could use those packs, add them to these figures. I wouldn't put the ammunition, sorry, not the ammunition, the first aid field dressings on their helmets. I'd leave those off. And the jump knife, I wouldn't put that on either. I have attached the jump knife to one of the legs, kind of going down the side of the calf, and just over the top of the boot there. You wouldn't use that on a normal infantry, but apart from that, really, they're pretty much set to go. You put the webbing on them like usual, except for the musette bag, swap that out, and you're good to go. What else? Got a little bit of static grass on the handle, the carrying handle for the light machine gun there. My mistake. So what else can you do to convert these? Well, if you wanted to make these paras into a bigger force, add in some anti-tank weapons, you could do that. Once again, using some of the extra weapons you might have left over from the US infantry sprue, such as the bazooka. Okay, the Airborne did use bazookas. They have the US infantry set comes with the bazooka round pouches, which might not focus, and the round itself. Okay, so you could put together a little two-man team, bazooka team, and I will be attempting to do that, so we'll see how well that comes out. So that's another option. Also, another option that this set doesn't give you is that by September of 44, the grease gun, the M3 grease gun, was much more common in service, particularly with the Airborne. One of the benefits of it was that it was much cheaper. The Thompson cost, I think it was something like $20-30 odd to produce during the war, whereas the grease gun was something like $9. There was a substantial difference in cost to produce it. Well, is it as iconic? Not really, but it was certainly used. Now, this box set doesn't come with any, but the US infantry set does. Let's see if I can. Okay, so you could use that with your infantry, and I should imagine that the hands for the Thompson would fit with the grease gun, so you could just swap those out. One of the other things that I've done, which I have actually done as a conversion, I haven't actually painted this guy up yet, but you get a guy, I used a guy, and you get 2 arms holding a pair of binoculars. I thought, well, this is great for an officer. But that doesn't give him any room for, I mean, he put his pistol on there, just on this side. Don't think you're going to be able to see that. Okay, but he doesn't really have any ability to have any other weapon and use the binoculars. So what I thought of doing was taking an M1 Garand without a sling from the US infantry pack and chopping off the sling from a Thompson and putting the two together and slinging it over his arm. Partly I did that because I wanted to kind of mimic, represent Captain Winters from Band of Brothers, Easy Company. I thought he would look particularly good with a rifle like that. I think he does a really good job. So let's have a look at some other pictures of the figures I have done, and then I'll come back with some final thoughts. Okay, see you in a sec. Hi guys, welcome back from that slideshow of pictures. Hopefully you really like those. I thought I would try to be a little bit more clever and put some scenery in and sort of, I guess, kind of, I don't know, set it up so it looked a little bit more realistic. I've always been inspired by Andy Singleton and some of the pictures he does with sort of setting it with terrain and stuff, so I thought I'd give that a go. But needless to say, I will be probably finishing this force off in the new year. Really useful. I have actually written an article for Warlord Games on these figures with the colours that I used to paint these. So if you're interested, head over. I think it should be on their website under articles. Not sure if it's been released yet because I guess a lot of stuff happened over Christmas and they had a lot of articles. But I have got that one and Operation Sand Dune article as well coming out, so something to look out for. So final thoughts. Would I recommend these? Absolutely, absolutely. And I actually plan not only to create the bazooka team, as I said, I'm going to also create an MMG team, having 3 guys on a base and using that the same machine gun they use for the LMG. I'll use that as an MMG, but with 3 guys. What else am I going to do with these? I'm probably going to get a pack of the metal US winter figures from Warlord Games and mix them in to the force in order to do like a Battle of the Bulge force. So it'll be a nice mix of the M43 jumpsuits and the winter kind of greatcoats and those sort of that sort of attire. The idea trying to be that, supply, the winter gear hadn't been supplied, or hadn't certainly been supplied in a sort of overreaching manner. So not everybody had winter clothing, and so hopefully that would be represented by having some in the M43 jumpsuits and some in the winter gear. So very excited about that. Apart from that, it's a fantastic set. Highly recommend it to you guys. And check out really any of Warlord's plastics sets. I've used the Blitzkrieg Germans. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting hold of some. What am I thinking? The German Grenadiers, which for the late war period. I've had a sprue of the Fallschirmjäger, which are relatively new as well, and they're fantastic. And I even hear rumours on the community and some of the Facebook pages that plastic British Paras are kind of in line next, but who knows when they're going to come out. And when they do, will I get a set? Probably, to bolster what I've already got of my Airborne force and to actually paint them properly this time. So they were. I got some of the metal ones from Warlord, the Red Devils box set, like 2021 figures, something like that, and first ever miniatures paint time. First ever time painting miniatures, and I was really learning, and they're very green uniforms. So I look forward to actually having a go at redoing those. And who knows, I might even strip the paint off those old ones at some point if I get really bored. But anyway, yeah. So US Airborne, love them. Hopefully you will too. And as always, if you've liked this video, please like, comment. Always like your comments. If you've liked this video or any of the others on the playlist, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Check out my Facebook page, Tees Foam and Terrain and all that. And of course, as per usual, the podcast that I'm involved with, The Brit, the Yank and the Hobby. We have a Facebook page, and check us out on iTunes. So, another one down, a couple more to go. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you very soon in another video. Okay, take care.